Laughing Historically.
Welcome to Laughing Historically. I'm Nevin.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're back for the super spooky Halloween episode.
Super spooky.
We're not in a graveyard though. Sounds a good thing.
See last year's episode for that. What better to cover than Dracula?
Ah.
You know, the story of how Bram Stoker came to write Dracula almost feels like the man was fated to write it. He grew up in Ireland during the potato famine of the 1800s.
So he was Irish.
He was Irish.
He loved potatoes. He didn't have any though.
No potatoes for him.
Potatoes.
But he was just a child, and over 1.5 million Irish people died. So his childhood was full of death, and his mother kind of kept him inside, away from it, telling him fairy stories and ghost stories.
So a little kid kept inside in seclusion, told ghost stories, and not allowed to go outside.
Kind of a perfect storm.
Yeah, it really is.
To add to that, he used to play in the graveyard next to his house.
This is a kid, he lives down the block. Don't talk to him ever.
Because he might grow up to write Dracula.
Yeah.
No surprise, he grows up to work in theater in London.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. All the weird kids out there.
In 1872, Bram Stoker reads a book by another Irish writer, Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. A book was called Camilla. Camilla.
I think I've heard of that.
Which is about an lesbian vampire.
No, I haven't heard of that. I've heard of that one.
In the 1800s, this was made.
Oh God!
It's a short book, not a lot of detail, but it kind of gets the idea in Bram Stoker's head. Meanwhile, what's brewing is 1888, the Jack the Ripper killings sweep London. And this kind of shows that humans can be pretty vicious, pretty animalistic. Nothing too funny here, just a bunch of prostitutes are killed. And this has to get in his head. 1890, Charles Darwin publishes his research on vampire bats.
Oh, alright, so now...
Which Bram Stoker also read. So, more stuff getting in his head. And also, what's going on at this time in literature, but Gothic literature is coming out. So...
They're dressing all in black?
Yes, no, different types of goths. And these stories feature exotic locales, the supernatural, and sexual overtones. Sex is still a taboo at this time, but authors start to, sneak it in.
So that's as raunchy as they can get. Just biting in the neck, alright.
Yeah, that's about as raunchy as they can get. So Stoker decides to take all of this stuff and write a book. Okay? And for 7 years, starting in 1890, Bram Stoker travels Europe researching the folklore of the vampire.
Did somebody say vampire folklore? Did you know that vampire myths go back more than 4,000 years? Ancient Babylonia and Syria had their legends. Vampires are mentioned in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Christians say that Cain was the first vampire, damned for killing his brother Abel, whereas Jews say that Lilith was the first vampire, a demon who sucked the life force. Eastern European legends mixed vampires with their religion, used religious talismans to fight them off. The Blood Countess Elizabeth Bathory bathed in virgin's blood to restore her use. And then in the 1700s, the word vampire was coined for the first time. And shortly thereafter, we had The Vampire by John Polidori. Lord Rutherford changed the face of vampire history.
So does he end up in Transylvania, or...?
Funny you should say that. He discovers a book called...
The Book of the Dead?
No. Just a regular book about...
Nuts.
He discovers just a regular book about Transylvania.
Oh, alright.
And he learns that the gypsies in that area have been basically plagued by Nosferatu for centuries. Now, Nosferatu are these creatures. They look human, they drink blood, their bite can convert others, they're killed by burning into decapitation.
Can people see these things, or...?
They were a folklore of the gypsies.
Okay? They sold things, too, to them, probably.
So the Nosferatu is perfect for Bram Stoker. This is exactly what he's looking for. But he needs something to root this idea in history, not just a bunch of gypsy hearsay.
Okay.
Alright?
Because gypsies, they're not accurate people.
They're not exactly trustworthy.
They're not authentic.
No. No one's going to believe gypsy tales. So in his research, he comes across a figure called Vlad the Impaler.
Okay.
In 1450s, Vlad ruled Wallachia, which is now in modern Romania.
Yeah, he's a noble in the area.
Yes. And Wallachia is right under Transylvania.
Okay.
So it's that area.
Right.
On getting the throne, Vlad holds this giant party. And
it was a party.
yeah, he invited over 500 of his enemies to this party.
Yeah, he was kind of a sneaky guy like that.
Yes, because midway through the party, he demands all of his guests impaled.
Yep. So, eat a nice little dinner, kill them all!
Exactly. and they put the stakes outside the castle for everyone to see. And he keeps doing this. Inviting people over, impaling them, and
no one apparently catches on.
no one catches on. And he eats his meals sitting underneath the impaled bodies and dipping his bread in the blood and eating it. So
It's like ketchup.
yeah, it's
Kinda.
blood of your enemies goes on about anything.
Eggs.
And so, no surprise, he starts getting the name Vlad the Impaler from the peasants.
Does he like the name?
No, he doesn't like the name.
Oh, yeah.
He likes a name that his father used to use. And his father went by the name Dracula, which in their language means dragon. And because Vlad is the son of the dragon, in that language you add an A. So he is Dracula. And he loved this name. He even had a castle on the border of Transylvania that he called Castle Dracula.
Yes.
Yes. 1476, he's decapitated because he's not that popular.
Apparently people had enough of his parties.
Yes.
Yeah, got him way too overboard.
But no one knows exactly how he was decapitated or by whom. Just his head ended up in the head of the Ottoman king.
Okay.
And
Did he invite him to a party?
he did, but Muhammad II was smart enough not to attend his parties. But Nevin, that's not the end of the story of Vlad the Impaler.
Okay. He's dead. How's he?
So his body is placed in a tomb in a monastery.
Okay. Without the head or with the
With the head,
With the
it's
head.
all it's put in a tomb.
Okay.
And in cut to 1931, Romania decides to put out an expedition to excavate Dracula's tomb. They open up the tomb, and inside, the casket and body are missing.
Dun, dun,
All that remains are animal bones.
Interesting.
So no one knows what happened to Vlad's
The
body.
animal got into it and ate him. I mean, that's that simple.
I was trying to go so spooky. Like, oh, an animal ate him. So this is everything Bram Stoker needs to write a book. He's got the gypsy tales. He's got
Look, you got it. Alright.
he's got Vlad the Impaler.
So parties.
So he decides to write a book called Dracula.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the novel doesn't make him a penny. Not a single dollar. No one buys this
That's
novel.
kind of like Frankenstein. Same thing happened with Frankenstein.
So he decides to write a play. All this work, writes a play. The play opens, and in the very same night, closes. No one goes to it. And Bram Stoker ends up dying penniless and in poverty in 1912. Soon in 1927, a newly adapted version of his play opens on Broadway and becomes a smashing success. The actor to play Dracula, a young Bela Lugosi. And 4 years later, it becomes a Universal motion picture. And, you know, the rest is history. No surprise. Dracula becomes the most adapted story in the English language. And goes on to inspire countless books, video games, plays, movies.
Did somebody say vampire movies? no, wait. I have so much more to say. The vampire movies, well, at least watch my reviews on blip.com/Maven of the Eventide. There's so much that I have to teach you about vampires and their place in cultural ideology, symbolic history, literature, metaphors.
You can help us out by writing a review on iTunes. More funny history at lovinghistorically.tv. Subscribe!